and welcome to Jesus for Asia Now. Today we want to take a moment to look at a very important part of how we put this show together. But first, our guest has a favorite Bible verse we want to read together, and that is Isaiah chapter 41 and verse 10, and I'm sure it's familiar to many of you. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. I will strengthen thee, yea, I will help thee. Yea, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness. I love that verse also. I used to read that to my children and sing it to my children when they were young. And it always reminded me that God has everything in his hands. And we will hear stories today of how God has kept our guest and his equipment in his hands. You know, we love to share with you the video segments from Asia, and we've heard from viewers that they love to see them. Today, we're going to be talking to one of the people that help us make those segments. I'd like to introduce you to Jonathan Hill. Jonathan, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Jonathan is our foreign correspondent here at Jesus for Asia. And what does that mean, foreign correspondent? What do you do?
Well, I am a videographer, and I was living in America here at the Jesus for Asia headquarters and would travel overseas sometimes to make videos and then come back. But you know, traveling overseas from here, there's a lot of cost involved with that and a lot of jet lag and a lot of inconveniences to doing that. And I wanted to live overseas anyways. I didn't want to live in America. And so the idea of being a foreign correspondent is living in Asia so that I can quickly get to where I need to go to shoot whatever projects I need to shoot. And I'm there with the people, and it's easier to get that work done quickly.
Okay, so where do you live?
I live in Thailand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and what countries have you shot video in?
I've shot in India, in Thailand, Cambodia, and the Philippines. And soon I'll be going to other countries, including Indonesia and some other ones as well.
Do you enjoy the travel part?
You know, when I was younger, I always wanted to travel. I would, see pictures in my history book. Oh, I want to travel. I want to go and see things. I never thought I'd be able to. And God took that dream and he said, here it is. Now it's what I do.
You work for me and I send you here and there.
Yes.
So you have some equipment here. Do you want to show us kind of what your normal work might look like, sort of? I know you have more equipment.
Right. I have a lot more, but there's two phases to the work that I do. One is shooting and the other is editing. So this right here is basically my editing package, just my computer and an external hard drive, which I don't have hooked up right now. And then earbuds so I can hear, and I just edit. So I can edit on a bus. It's hard if it's a rough road, but I can edit in an airplane. I can edit at home or in a hotel room or wherever. And that's really key to being able to travel and still be able to edit and work with the footage there. As far as the shooting, this is my camera. This is just a mic on it, and this is kind of when I need to just go somewhere and shoot something, this is just what I run with. It's very, very high quality and very easy to use, which is really helpful for getting what I need quickly. And then this right here is a piece of equipment that has really improved the quality of the videos. And this is a gimbal. So you just put the camera on here, and then you can walk, and it keeps the camera steady, level, and it really, really makes the footage look
So people don't see the footsteps
and
that you take.
changes and all that. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any idea how many of our projects you've been able to visit and shoot video for?
Well, that's kind of hard to say. I mean, I visited a lot of the Bible workers in India. Been to Chennai, Udumalpet, Tanjore, farther south in Tamil Nadu. Went to Assam and Upper Ganges section, New Delhi area. Also the evening schools in India and the Widow's Sewing School. In Thailand, I visited almost all of the missionaries that are there and their projects. And in the Philippines, I haven't been there as much because we have a team that's already working there. And then Cambodia as well.
Okay. Do you have a favorite? video, or do you have a clip maybe to share with us?
Yeah, it's hard to pick, honestly, because there's so many. But the first one that I want to show is of the evening schools, and it was pretty amazing. The first time last year on my trip when we went to the evening school, I hadn't been shooting as much. I was mostly editing, and so I had the camera on the gimbal, and we were in this evening school, and for like 2 hours, and after 45 minutes, my arm just started shaking because the camera and the gimbal is so heavy. But this is just a montage of some of the clips that I got in the different evening schools there, and the kids eating. That's an important part of the evening schools, but the most important part is that they're learning about Jesus as well.
Okay, let's go to that clip now. It's so neat to see the precious faces and the joy as they're eating the food, and to think about how little it costs for each of those children to go there.
Right.
How do they respond? I mean, I see the kids smiling at you as you're shooting the video. How do they respond to you? How do people respond in these different places where you go?
Well, it is very different in different places. In India, these kids especially, most of them are like, they want to be in the picture. So if you're, wanting a shot of this kid over here sees, oh, he's taking, so they run and get in front, and that's not very helpful, So you have to work with them. But in India, generally, the kids especially, they want to be there, they want to be in the shot. The adults are not as forward. Some of them in different places, they're not as open, they're not as happy to see the camera. And so I try and be very respectful. If they don't want me to take their picture, I'm not going to, So I try to be respectful in that regard. But like in Thailand with the Karen people group, a lot of them are very camera shy, and there's kind of two extremes. Some of them are more, forward like the Indian kids, but a lot of them, you point the camera and they'll turn and run or hide. And in Cambodia, they're kind of in between, I think. Some of them are, and some of them are more shy.
So how do you get ready when you're going to go on one of these shoots? How do you get ready?
Well, there's different parts to that. One is just the basic equipment, making sure I have hard drive space and batteries charged and chargers that I need, and all the equipment in my backpack that I'm going to need, and all of that. That's one side. But the more important side is really what I want to capture, what I need to capture. And for these shows here, a lot of that comes from John talking, okay, this show about, the evening schools or the Bible workers or whatever it may be. What do we really want to portray? How do we want to show it? And once we've talked, then I start to visualize, okay, so, what kind of shots do I need to really portray that, to portray what they're doing and how they're working and the challenges that they're facing. And a lot of it is, you kind of have to just roll with the punches when you get there. You can't plan it because it's not like a movie where you have everything scripted. You're capturing what's happening rather than making what happened, what you want to happen.
Right.
And so there's both those aspects of thinking ahead, visualizing, okay, I want this shot, I want this shot. And a lot of times once I get to a place, like if we're going to be there for 4 days, 3 or 4 days, I'll see the surroundings, and then I start thinking, okay, so what shots can I get to make an intro to this or an outro? Different landscapes or landmarks that I can use to create, a good visual product. There's a lot that goes into it.
Well, that's neat. It's nice to think about the projects. I mean, to think about what they're doing and how to show that. I mean, you can tell people, we talk about what people are doing. I mean, I can tell somebody what the evening schools are doing, but to show it to them and to see almost firsthand, is so much better.
Yeah.
So what's the main goal when you're going to shoot these videos?
The main goal, I would say, is really to help people to, like you said, to see. I know there was a big change in my life when I went from hearing about people who lived in Asia and didn't know about Jesus to actually going and seeing them. And so kind of my goal is, with my camera, as best I can, to portray the needs that are there and the experiences that the people are having with people here in America. Because I think a lot of times we live in a bubble, and it's very, we're so busy with everything that's going on, and it's a rat race and everything is just crazy. We don't really think about, what's going on the other side of the world. And if I can show that in a way that engages people and they're like, wow, that's really different than what it is here. It is really different. Take my word for it, just to show a little bit. It's nothing, as in depth as being there and experiencing it yourself. But it's an in-between step that I hope and I pray helps a lot of people to really engage more with the need that is over there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are real people with real lives, real challenges, real joys, real sorrows.
Exactly.
And, when you go and you meet them and you learn their names, if it's possible to remember, because some of them have very long names.
Right.
But it makes it so much more personal, and being able to see it and share it with the people here is so important.
Right.
So, okay, speaking about the need, you know that here at Jesus for Asia, we have a burden for a special people group. And it's a people group that is comprised by over 40% of the world's population. And that's the unreached people group. We have the people group that speaks this language or lives in this place, but these unreached people groups, I guess, are all over the place.
Right.
And you have a burden for them, and I know John has shared that burden with you, and you've talked about it together. What of that is your direction with some of what you're doing with these videos?
Yeah, well, one of the ideas that John and I have talked about a lot is going to a people group that is completely unreached by the gospel, untouched, and to show that. Because you think about, Jesus, when he left his disciples here and he ascended to heaven, he said, he gave the gospel commission, go ye into all the world and preach the gospel to every nation, tribe, tongue, and people. And if we're here in our bubble, like I was just talking about in America, or in any country, it's very easy to be in a little bubble and not really see too far beyond that.
Right. We think what we see is normal.
Right.
And wherever you are, that's different. But still, we think what we see is normal.
Right. And the funny thing about the bubble, if you think about that, when you're inside the bubble, what's outside is distorted. You're not really seeing the clear picture. And sometimes we have to get out of that bubble, out of our comfort zone, before we really see, what reality is outside where we're used to. But back to the idea of going into an unreached people group, if we need to go and reach them somehow, it would be helpful to know where they are, who they are, something about them. And so the idea is to go in and find a people group, and there's a lot of challenges, involved with this, of language challenges and cultural challenges, because I don't want to go in and just be offending the people left and right because I don't understand their culture. So there's a lot of challenges mixed in with it. But to go in, see how they live, what their needs are, what could be some ways to, have open doors in reaching out to them, whether that be through health or through children's ministries or, any number of different ways to meet their felt needs, because that's really what opens doors. That's the way Jesus worked. He met people's felt needs, he mingled with them, and then they were open to him. One of the things that I see happening in the world around us is Satan is using media as a powerful tool for evil, impacting people in ways they don't realize for evil. I want to use media for God because it is a powerful tool and it can reach a lot of people. And that's my goal, is to try and counteract what the devil is doing by using it for God's work.
Use it for good.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a video to share with us at this time?
Yeah, absolutely. So this video is about some Bible workers. We have a lot of Bible workers in India. This one is near Mumbai, and we went on a Friday afternoon, and it was amazing to see. The Bible workers have been working there for just 6 months. And the people were, raising their hands. Yes, Jesus is working in my life. Yes, I'm thankful to know Jesus. And it's just really amazing to see.
Okay, let's play that at this time.
This is the most amazing program that I've seen in a really long time. Friday afternoon, 80 or so people have gathered here. They don't read the Bible, but they've heard the gospel. They've heard about Jesus Christ. And probably 80% of all the people that were here, when asked if Jesus had touched their lives, raised their hand. And this is a direct result of this Bible Worker program.
Well, that's an amazing video. It's so awesome to see for yourself, the people that are raising their hands, that Jesus is working in their lives, and seeing the Bible worker at work. Mm-hmm. And I know it's really helped to have these videos. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah, something that actually happened that day, and I didn't realize it at first, but it was about a 2-hour drive to get there. And as we were driving out there, I began to not feel well, and not like I was going to be unable to shoot, but I was, like I was getting sick. And while we were there, that village has actually experienced a lot of demon possession and evil spirits working in those people. And we saw evidence of that. And when we left, I felt better after that. And I was talking with John about it, and he was like, you were probably being attacked by the devil.
Right.
And so it's very real over there that, Satan works in ways that are more visible sometimes than here. And when you're going in there on God's mission, you have a bullseye on you. So it's...
So do you pray a lot?
Yes.
As you're getting ready to go?
Yes.
And as you're going?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There's great need of protection and God's power, not only to help me with the filming, to do it the best I can to get the right shots. Yeah. But also protection from Satan, because he's not happy with what's going on.
Right. He attacks you physically, he attacks your equipment, I'm sure.
Yes.
Is your preparation for shooting in the jungle, for example, with Gail or with the Sharons, different from shooting in, for example, Bangkok or out in the countryside with the Bible workers? Is that preparation different?
Yeah, absolutely. As far as the equipment goes, the big difference between like the jungle and the city is, for instance, like Travis, I went in there and shot a video, and I had to hike 12 miles through the mud, and it was rainy season, so it could rain at any moment. And so I had my whole backpack, I had everything in bags with lots of, stuff to try and keep the moisture out, and a bag over it and everything. That was a lot of work. And then I had to, of course, hike it in, and it's like 30-some pounds. That's very different than going to Bangkok, where I don't really have to worry about that. My backpack is water resistant enough that even if I have to run a short distance through a rainstorm, it's okay, but not 12 miles.
Yeah.
And as far as portraying it, one of the challenges that I faced at Gales was the roads are so steep, and I wanted to show that because there's just stuff that you don't understand it until you like see it in person. You're like, whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But I really tried to portray just how steep it was and how difficult it was. I don't know. I don't think it does it justice.
Yeah.
But you do the best you can. And as far as the city, it's easier in some ways because there's everything is right there, and so there's lots of different things that you can go to shoot to add in. But there's lots of dynamics.
Yeah, lots of extra noise.
Right.
Right.
And that can be a big challenge. Some other things are like, just, life is different over there. It takes a little getting used to. Once you get used to it, it's not so bad. But there's lots of unique challenges in working with the people. There's language barriers, there's cultural barriers in understanding the culture and how you can relate to them, because they do things different, and you want to show them a biblical way, but not a Western way. You want to make the gospel story real to them, but not Westernized. So there's a lot of challenges in reaching out to those people. But the most important thing is staying connected to Jesus, and he can lead through all those challenges. And like that verse you read says, he's always with us. Fear not, be not dismayed. I am that God. I will uphold thee. I will strengthen thee.
Right.
And that has been a precious promise to me through the many experiences.
Okay. We have another video to share at this time. Can you tell us about it?
Sure. This was actually after I had gone over. This was on the first trip that I went over to be a foreign correspondent. It was only 2 months that I was there. It was the first project with all my new equipment that God provided for, and it was incredible. It's with Gail out in the mountains, and the work she's doing is just amazing because she's doing the medical work, but at the same time she's praying with the patients. She's living the gospel so they can see what a Christian really is like. And she's one of those people that you see her and she's been with Jesus that morning. She has a light in her eyes, a smile on her face. She's sharing the love of Jesus, and it's just amazing, amazing to see.
Okay, let's watch that.
One young man came one time and he said, why is it that when I go to the doctor they give me paracetamol and I don't get well? But when I come here, you give me paracetamol and I get well. We're not here because it's easy.
Or for adventure.
Or to be appreciated.
Or to be comfortable.
We're here because many people in these mountains
Have never heard the name of Jesus.
and they're steeped in superstition and fear.
They need medical help.
But there's nobody else to help them.
So God sent us here to help these people.
And he's doing great things. I'm so thankful to God because there is no need that we have that God hasn't already provided for. He never fails us. He's always with us, and he's given us the best job that we in the world of anybody else because we get to tell people about Jesus every day.
Well, it is wonderful to see firsthand, or almost, what Gail is doing over there. To see the people she's working with, the environment, the challenges, the roads, what she has to deal with on a daily basis. The video makes it so much more real to us here. I mean, we can tell a story, but to tell it with video is so much more powerful.
Yeah.
And what are some of the challenges that you deal with in telling the story of someone like Gail, who's a foreign missionary, versus somebody that's a local missionary like a Bible worker or something? Is there a difference, or is it more challenging for you? How does that work?
Yeah, there's definitely a difference because, like with Gail, she's American, I'm American. We understand the American mindset. So going in, I capture the way she interacts with the people and with the, culture and all of that. So it's easier for me to do that. Also, I understand the American mindset, and that's key to being able to really portray what would shock Americans, because there's a lot over there that shocks Americans. Some of the things that she does, and I haven't seen this because I haven't been out there in rainy season, but she tells stories of, hiking through the mud barefoot with leeches hanging on her feet. Okay, you don't really imagine that here in America as much. And you can't imagine the mud that's over there.
And if you did go there, you'd have to have special equipment because of the rain.
Right. So I see the videos that I'm making as kind of a bridge between, people here and people there, whether it be a foreign missionary, an American missionary or from somewhere else working cross-culturally, or the national workers working in their own culture. It's kind of a bridge, and it's harder to plant the foundation of the other side of the bridge with the national workers because I don't understand it as well. But God is good. I do the best I can, and He does the rest. He makes up for what I can't do, and to be truthful, I can't do anything. It's because of God that I have breath today, and so it's His power that makes all this happen.
Right. What about your process of all of this is especially challenging for you or satisfying for you?
Yeah, there's a bit of a cycle, and it could almost be a round cycle. But when I go and I shoot a project or videos or anything, it's like I love it. It's like I do it and I'm like, this is why I just love what I do. And then you have to edit. And it's not that I really dislike editing, it just takes so long many times, and it's just a whole lot of work. But then when the video is finished and it goes out, I get a whole nother level of satisfaction knowing that work is finished, my work is finished, and now it's up to God to just let that video go and work on the hearts of people.
Well, Jonathan, I appreciate you being here today and sharing with us, and I know there will be people in the kingdom because of the work that you are doing, sharing the stories of the people out there.
That is my prayer, and if there is, I know there will be, I agree, but it's only because of God, because there's nothing I can do for that, but only God working through me, and that's my desire, to just let Him work through me every day.
Yeah, be the hands and feet.
Yes, be the hands and feet of Jesus working in His stead.
Yes. Well, I want to thank you for joining us today for Jesus for Asia Now, and if the Lord has impressed you to be a part of enabling Jonathan to do the work that he's doing or any of our other projects, you can send your tax-deductible love gift to Jesus for Asia, P.O. Box 1221, Collegedale, Tennessee 37315. Call us at 423-413-7321 or visit our website at jesusforasia.org. May God richly bless you until we see you again next week on Jesus for Asia Now.